Well, hello everyone. Thanks for joining us, and hello as always to the wonderful Suzie. It's great to have you here as always. Just a quick couple of things before we get going. You may have seen on some of my posts this week that we're thinking of kind of taking a week or so, stepping back from live webinars. There's so many things going on at the moment with different announcements, and there's been a couple of our clients that have been talking to us about different reviews for suppliers on the recruitment side, and we've had a couple of jobs come in as well. So things are kind of getting very hectic. So we're kind of taking a week away to just work out the next best steps of where we go and what have you. It's definitely not going to be the last that you've heard from us at all, and we're still going to be very present and what have you. As always, thank you for your time, Suzie. It's great to have you here. Those of you that are around tomorrow, we've got a really important conversation at lunchtime, which is what the future holds for business support and the kind of wider landscape. And we've got some very instrumental people coming on board to have a chat and give some opinions of what they think is going to be happening over the coming months, and how we can all best prepare ourselves for it. So please join us for that. So taking nothing away from Suzie, it's all about her. We're always looking forward to our weekly mindset fix. So as always, thank you, Suzie. Over to you.
Thank you, Paul. Can I just say I always love the way that you introduce me, and you always put a smile on my face. Thank you so much. You're famous. Hi, everyone. So for those of you who don't know me, most of you probably do by now, but those of you who don't know me, my name's Suzie from Suzie Flynn Coaching. I'm an ex-personal and executive assistant of 22 years working in London, turned mindset coach and business mentor, and I now help executive assistants set up their virtual assistant business and shift their mindset from business owner to employee, and helping them let go of those limiting beliefs. I do that through one-to-one coaching. So today, the question is, are your beliefs holding you back? That's the title of this webinar, but the real question I want to ask you, are your beliefs actually yours? Because at the end of the day, as you may know or may not know, our beliefs are all formed in our childhood years, in what's called our pre-conscious years, up to about age 6 or 7. And effectively, we model what happens around us, what's happening in the world. We model what we hear from our caregivers, our parents, but not just our caregivers and our parents, but we take on board what authorities, what figures in authority say to us, what we hear on TV, in advertising, social media, you know, certainly for those that are growing up now more than my age, because we didn't have social media back then, to show my age. Everything that we absorb, and we absorb so much. So the beliefs that we actually have now are actually old beliefs. They're old patterns which are running in our programming from things that we have learned. So I wanted to give you some examples of some of the beliefs that we may have learned over the years. So the belief that a lot of people might have, that it's better to be thin than it is to be fat. So where did we hear that belief, or where do we learn that belief, or how do we integrate that belief? Was it from society? Was it from advertising? Was it from glossy magazines? Was it from the doctor? Okay, so it was someone else's belief, and they've passed it down to you. So you've learned your belief from someone else or something else. You've programmed that into your way of thinking. Another good example about how we take on other people's beliefs, and this is a prime one for a lot of people, particularly me as a business owner now, and I don't know if this will resonate with you as well, Paul, but for me, when I grew up, my dad's belief was very much, you get a 9-to-5 job, and you go out and you work, and that's it. That's what you do. You know, it's safety, you get a job, you get paid. But as Paul will know, that's not always reality. Redundancies happen, you can get pushed out, etc., etc. So I've shifted my mindset around that. I've shifted my mindset into believing and knowing that I can actually make more money and impact more people in my business. And Paul's nodding, so I'd love to hear his thoughts on this at some point. because Paul is effectively a business owner, but he sits on both sides of the fence, really, doesn't he? Because he's a business owner. I can see him laughing. He's a business owner, but also he is a recruitment agent. So he gets people into that 9 to 5. So it's interesting, isn't it, where we create our beliefs from. So, let's have a think about what beliefs do you have and where did they come from? Is it something that your parents taught you? It could be about money, it could be about relationships, it could be around career, it could be around environment, friendships, anything really, anything. But where did our beliefs actually come from? And also I want to say that 95 to 99% of our beliefs, our thoughts, are run by our subconscious mind. So not even really aware of what we're thinking most of the time, which is pretty powerful. So we take on our beliefs from others and they get passed down. So we have what's called generational beliefs. So if our parents, and this is what I want to talk about, this Black Lives Matter. So I was on a webinar yesterday with a lady, and she was just addressing the issue and using her voice to address the issue. And when I was younger, I dated some black men, and I'd introduced them to my dad, and you could see the slight uneasiness that my dad showed when I brought that man of colour into his home. This is my boyfriend. And you could see that he felt a little bit uncomfortable. And, maybe he was racist, maybe he wasn't, I don't know. And I'm not going to label him, but the point is that we learn through generational patterns. So he would have learned through his parents and, his parents before his grandparents, etc. And then we have that unconscious bias. Unless we become more aware of our beliefs and start to shift that unconscious bias, then we keep running those same generational patterns, and we can do something about that. And I'm going to talk to you in a moment about some ways that you can question your beliefs and explore your different beliefs, and you dig a little bit deeper around that, because I love talking about beliefs. It's like probably my favourite subject. So the brain is constantly searching for meaning, and it creates patterns to make sense of things, and that's effectively where our beliefs come from. We are consistently gathering evidence, or the brain is gathering evidence to support our beliefs, whether it's a positive belief or a negative belief. So it's always looking for evidence. It just deals with facts. As I've always said, the brain doesn't distinguish between imagination and reality. It's just seeking out evidence to the contrary of whether that belief is true or not, whether it's serving you or not. So we are often attracted to people, and have a think about who you know in your life, friends, colleagues, maybe organisations even, that what are your values and what are your beliefs, and how many friends do you have where their beliefs and values are very similar? Okay, and we do this because the brain likes the familiar. It likes, we like to find people that are similar to us. So if I look into my friendship circle, then my friends have got a lot of similar beliefs to me, a lot of similar values. When I used to look for a job, when I was in corporate, then I would look at the values of the company. We want to kind of mirror, effectively, like match what the other person or the company has, because it makes us feel comfortable. We're familiar with it. So if we're running a lot of negative thought patterns, a lot of negative beliefs, okay, we're going to be drawn to people that have got a lot of negative beliefs and a negative mindset. So when you start to shift the way you think, you can start attracting the people in that are going to lift you up and to serve you a little bit better. Okay, but our beliefs are there to keep us safe. They keep us sort of in that comfort zone. But there's this thing where you can have a certain amount of pain in your life. If you've got limiting beliefs, that could be that certain amount of pain. But when you have this is when my clients start to come to me. When someone has too much pain in a certain area of their life, they start to want to seek pleasure. When the pain, like if you look at it in terms of scales, when the pain gets too much and there's not enough pleasure, they take action to do something about it. But if you've got limiting beliefs or limiting beliefs, should we say, that you've been running for years and they've become your norm, you're so used to them, why would you change them? But the thing is, if you don't change your beliefs, then you're not going to move the needle forward. If you don't change how you think and feel about the world, it's going to be more difficult to achieve the results that you want if you're very much set in a negative mindset with negative thoughts and negative beliefs about what is possible for you. So really it is time for an upgrade. If you think about it, we've been running so many of our beliefs for so many years, since those pre-conscious years, 6 or 7. I'm in my 40s now, so you're talking 30 years plus running the same beliefs. So when you start exploring these beliefs and start reframing them, then you can start switching how you think and feel. Like I always say, Paul knows this, what you think affects how you feel affects how you act, and how you act affects the outcome and the reality that you create. And everything always starts with our thoughts. So let's just explore this a little bit more. So if we look at some of the thoughts and beliefs that we have, what beliefs do we have? Like, does anyone want to share some of the beliefs that they've had since they were in their childhood, whether it's their relationships, their money? Let's focus on career. Let's just focus on one thing. Okay. So if you were to focus on career, what are your beliefs around your career? Is it that, it's safe to have a 9-to-5, you should have a 9-to-5 job, you should be working for the same employer for 2, 3, 4 years, etc. So Cece's talked about fear of the unknown. So that's a belief, yeah. And that's just the brain not, like the brain likes to have certainty and it likes the familiar. So it's about making the unfamiliar familiar. But we all have beliefs around different things. So I've talked a bit about my beliefs when I was in corporate and how they've shifted. Okay, so let me ask you a question. What would happen if you change some of your beliefs? So the beliefs around fear of the unknown, that you should work hard to get what you want in your career. And that, I love that one, Jenny, and thank you for sharing that, because that's the one that I've had for so long, and I've definitely made progress on it more recently. But it's very much, I actually want to share a book with you. They're very much a belief that, and I think it's more of a generational belief, because I know that's what my parents taught me: work hard, go to work every day, do the 40 plus years, get a carriage clock kind of thing, and then retire. But that is a mindset. And this book, How Rich People Think, I've read it and it's absolutely amazing. Paul, have you read that one? Yeah, Paul's read that. So it's definitely a great read, and it's a really interesting way to understand your belief system around money, around work. So Jenny said, you should work hard to get what you want in career. Okay, so again, that's just a belief, and it's a generational belief. I've started to believe that my earning potential is limited. I know this is wrong, but I'm finding it difficult to shake. Okay, yeah. So as I always talk about, like, flip the switch. The more and more you find ways to ingrain a new belief into your mind, the more your brain starts to believe it. So, like, I'll be completely honest with you, and I've been telling myself recently that some my clients, my assistants, won't be able to afford my 3 or 6 month coaching packages because they're in the thousands, and I'm like, oh, they won't be able to afford me. But that's not true. Not everyone will be able to afford me, and I know that. But I'm working on different programs, etc., to create different options. But some people will be able to afford me, but it is just a belief. But you can flip that belief, as I said before, flip it and write down the opposite. So you can change that to, I believe that my earning potential is limitless. And it's going to feel uncomfortable. It's going to feel weird. It's going to feel like you're lying to yourself. But over time, your brain's going to be like, oh, okay, well, she keeps repeating this to me, maybe it's true. And of course, not in a way. And I love to just have as many visual reminders around my home as possible, but do whatever it takes to ingrain that new belief. Because as long as you keep telling yourself your earning potential is limited, then seek out new opportunities for growth and more income potential. So it just says internet connection is unstable, so I'll wait for that. Right, what else I've got? I've got some notes here. So yeah, some questions to ask yourself. What would happen if you change your beliefs? What doors and what opportunities would open for you that aren't there for you right now? Okay, what is a more accurate belief going forward? I'll pop all these questions into a post later into the business support network, so you can go away and reflect on these questions, but just think about them in the moment, what comes up for you immediately, and please do share again in the chat box. So a question you can ask is, when I'm successful, it means. So go with your first gut instinct, go with what feels right for you. Don't overthink it, just let your subconscious mind guide you. When I feel successful, it means, it might be, you know, for me, it would be making, for now, it means making a 10-figure, a 5-figure month. Yeah, I know, Paul, wouldn't it be nice? A 5-figure month. So we attach our success to outcomes by answering those kind of questions. Please, can you share the reading, Jill? Yeah, I'll pop it all in a post later. I want to make sure that I'm just engaging with you today, answering your questions live, and then I will create a post in the group later, and you can take that all away. So yeah, when I'm successful, it means. Another question you can ask yourself, or say a statement rather, I can't be successful because, and write down immediately the first thing that comes to mind, because that is your limiting belief there. Okay, that is your limiting belief. And then success is, fill in the blank. Okay, so as I said, go with the gut instinct. So the next thing I'd say is, like, what is a more helpful belief? So one thing I do is, if I've got a negative belief coming into my mind, I just simply say to myself, okay, that's not serving me. What is a more positive belief? What is a more empowering belief? And then I just immediately flip the switch in it and change the belief. And I know that as soon as I did it, because I did it this morning, I've done it before, that the physiology in my body, it changes. I notice myself feeling slightly lighter, slightly less tense, you know, not overthinking so much, you know, feeling free to get on with my day without getting caught up with that same negative thought. So as I said before, do whatever it takes. And I'd love to hear in the chat box, what do people do in terms of flipping a switch, in terms of focusing on the positive statements, the positive beliefs? Do you do mantras in the morning? Do you record your voice? Do you have sticky notes up on the outside of the shower door or on kitchen cupboards? What do you do to help you reinforce the positive beliefs that you want to have in your life? Maybe you don't do anything. Okay, and if you don't, maybe it's now time to start changing that. Okay, so Strictly Recruitment, is that Holly or is that Paul? You. So Paul, you said take action. What kind of action do you take? Is it that you just take action within the first 5 seconds, like Mel Robbins says? Is it that you drop the JFDI, that you just effing do it approach? What's your take action? So share a little bit more about that. Okay, so yeah, so just I jump in and just go for it. Yeah, and that's the thing, because when you start thinking about something and you don't take action, your mind starts to self-sabotage. And then you don't take action, and you're like, oh, well, I'll do it in 5 minutes, or I'll do it, you know, when I've finished my glass of water, or I'll do it tomorrow, etc. So positive mindset to start the day, absolutely. So do whatever it takes to ingrain the positive beliefs in your mind. So Marie said that she uses breath work meditation, start the day with a clean page and 3 things to be grateful for each day. I love that. I don't do the breath work, but I know breath work is amazing. I've heard lots of good things about that, which is great. But what I do is, part of my morning routine is I write 3 things that I'm grateful for today. And it can be so simple. Like, I was grateful for my thumb this morning, and you're like, why is Suzie grateful for her thumb? Because my thumb was holding the page down. Okay, it has a function, it has a use. You know, what would we do without our thumbs? It would be quite difficult. So I'm grateful for my thumb. I was grateful for my lovely dressing gown. I was grateful for the sunshine outside. Okay, so gratitude is huge. I write down my intentions for the day, and I do meditation. Vera said, remind myself that some people are always worse off than me, and get on with the day. Yep, I love that one, Vera. That's what I do. For years, I've been telling myself that starving children in Africa, which sounds crazy, but it's true. And there is. I've been out to Africa. I've seen malnourished children, and do you think they're worrying about their limiting beliefs? Maybe they are, maybe they aren't. But there's always someone worse off than us. So it just always comes back to gratitude, coming back to the present moment. sometimes I just like to look up and go, I've got a ceiling, I've got a roof over my head, you know, so much to be grateful for. So by flipping the switch and answering these kind of questions, like when I'm successful, it means I can't be successful because, and success is, it will help you understand your limiting beliefs, and then you can start switching the limiting beliefs and start putting those post-it notes up. Stop whining, Karen said. Yeah, exactly. Tell the negative mind monkey in your head to shut up. And it's a command to the brain, literally just, you know, when you hear that negative thought, negative belief, just say stop, delete, you're not going there. Not today, whatever. Just interrupt that thought pattern. But yeah, so just create a practice, if you don't already have one, where you are seeing that or saying that belief. Okay, so decide on your new belief, decide on that, you know, I have a limitless potential to earn money. Okay, and then put sticky notes up, have it on a voice recording, just do something so you don't just write it down and forget about it. Focus on that statement, that positive, powerful belief every single day. Because as it takes about 21 days to 28 days to form a new habit. It's the same as our thoughts. Thoughts are habits, they're patterns. Okay, it's programming. To reframe them and to change them, you've got to consistently start saying new things. Okay, I had a belief in my new coaching program, which I've been in 2 months now, oh, everyone else is going to get results but I won't. That's a belief. It's not true, and I don't believe that anymore because I did the work. I consistently told myself that that's not the truth, that I am capable of creating great wealth and capable of impacting so many lives and supporting so many systems and, you know, creating a wonderful business. So it's consistency. Don't just do it for a couple of days and stop. Create it as a new pattern in your life until the old belief just doesn't exist anymore. It really can be as simple as that. Okay, and ask yourself, what difference could having these new beliefs make in your life and your business? You know, what will you do differently by having these new beliefs? Because when you change your beliefs, everything changes. As I say, you are what you think. Okay, you are what you think. So that kind of wraps up really what I wanted to share with you today. Other than just to say, just be really mindful of your negative thoughts, be on red alert, capture them when they come in, stop them, reframe them, and just repeat that positive belief every single day until it just becomes a new habit. Okay, so I'm going to share a couple of things with you for today. For those who haven't joined before, I send out a weekly mindset newsletter every Friday at 7, full of lots of positivity and mindset tips. And I've also got a little confidence freebie for you to download if you want to download that one as well. And within that, there is something called a confidence anchor, which I've used on a few clients. And I spoke to a client yesterday who we had a session and we caught up on the on their previous session. I was like, how are you getting on? He's like, I love the confidence anchor. I'm using it all the time. It's absolutely amazing. I've never come across a tool like it. It's basically an NLP tool, because I'm an NLP practitioner, and it allows you to step back into those feelings of confidence, and we use an anchor such as our thumb and our finger to anchor in that positive emotion by revisiting an old memory, which means that at any time we can just do that, or you know, whichever finger you've chosen, and step into that feeling of confidence. And when you do it, you notice your physiology changing, etc. So it's a really powerful one. It's all in that download. Karine said, I've subscribed to the newsletter. Lovely. Hope you enjoy. Cece, do you have any personal challenges that you have set yourself for the next few months? Sorry, should read personal goals. Yeah, goals, challenges. I guess, yeah. I mean, every month I set myself goals. I set myself my goals each month on the end of the month. So some personal challenges would be, well, I've achieved one of them, well, a couple of them, get back to my ideal weight, which was only about 4 or 5 pounds I needed to lose because I'm quite skinny anyway. One of them was to conquer Howe Lane, which was actually the road that I had my mountain bike accident on. But it's quite steep and I wanted to get to the top of it again. So I've conquered that. I have business goals as well. Personal goals are sorting out my paperwork in my home because I've been putting that off for ages, planning a trip to Devon. So yeah, at the end of every month, I create 10 or 12 goals. I identify what they are, and then I break them down. So think of it like a mountain. I've talked to this before. Like a mountain is, okay, like a mountain is slightly different, but a mountain is the year. Then you've got the boulders, which are the months, and then you've got the rocks, which are the weeks, the pebbles, which are the days, and then you've got the sand, which are the hours. So you literally break down the goals into its component parts. So yeah, I set goals every month, and also for each quarter in business, like I'm sure Paul will as well. So I've set key 3 goals around revenue for my business. And it's also important to set goals for you in your personal life. So anyway, enough of me talking. I feel like I hear too much of my own voice. Has anyone got any questions they want to pop into the chat or ask me on video? Feel free to take yourself off mute. I hope you found today useful. Can't hear you, Paul. Paul, can't hear you. Oh, I can hear you now. Nope. I still can't hear you.
How's that?
Yeah, I can hear you now.
That was weird. Sorry, I do apologise. This, yeah, I think I said it last week, didn't I? Like about each week getting better and better.
You always say that.
And this week really resonated with me because
a lot of nodding.
Yeah, I actually spent somewhere between about a year and 15 months researching some of the most successful people on the planet, from whether they were sports women, sports men, entrepreneurs, business people, from all different kind of walks of life. One of the things that resonated with most of them, and this kind of thing that it came back to, there was lots of different traits, but the kind of winning, positive mindset of this is what I'm going to go off and do, this is what I'm going to achieve, and kind of taking it to those levels and having those setbacks and kind of learning from those setbacks, but still having that positive mental attitude to then go on to push forward, really kind of was one of the key traits that kind of stood out with most of them. And it's interesting about the goals question as well, because every single one of them said, I set goals on a daily basis, weekly basis, monthly basis. It's not just New Year's resolutions. It's about, this is now what I'm going to go and try and achieve so they've got those kind of end products. And I actually used that. That research in a talk that I've done quite a few times about the kind of key rules for success. Not just in business, but in kind of life and what have you. So yeah, it was interesting to kind of hear it, because a lot of things that I've kind of listened to before was covered here, definitely. So
yeah, and I think what you say about the whole New Year's resolutions, you're creating a resolution for the year, the whole year. I must do this within this year, and it's huge. It might be something pretty simple, but you're putting a lot of pressure onto yourself to create a huge transformation effectively. And that's when we get into overwhelm. We simply just need to break it down from the mountain, the boulders, the rocks, the pebbles, the sand, etc. And there are different books out there, like in Steve Seibold's book, How Rich People Think, and another great book to read is Think and Grow Rich, which I'm sure you've probably read, Paul. And both of these books, they've interviewed people over years and years about the mindset of becoming rich. And this one is particularly interesting. It doesn't mean that you have to be a millionaire. It just changes the way that you think.
I think that's an interesting point, because when you see books like that, the word rich in it, people automatically think about money and wealth and what have you, which is obviously fair enough, but it doesn't just relate to financial wealth or what have you. It's kind of it's about a rich life, and and being happy within yourself, but not just, because life isn't just about money. Obviously it helps, and it's lovely, it's about everything, isn't it?
Yeah, and as Suzie said, it's about abundance. Some of the quotes that he has in this book, he has them sort of titles of each of the section. He calls like the middle class, which is sort of the people that are not don't have that sort of wealth mentality, and then the world class. I think I've got that right. Yeah, the world class is people that, you know, have made it, that have got all the money. So he says the middle class has a lottery mentality, like, oh, you know, I'll buy a lottery ticket and I'll get rich. The world class has an action mentality, like take action. The middle class plays it safe with money. World class takes calculated risks. The middle class waits for their ship to come in, retirement maybe, pension. The world class builds their own ship. I mean, it goes on and on. So like, I absolutely highly recommend that book. You know, you don't have to want to be a millionaire to read it, but it will really help you shift your mindset. I find it. So that and Think and Grow Rich by Napoleon Hill. So does anyone have any questions? Did you find today helpful? Any feedback?
Wonderful as always, Suzie.
Thank you. Marie said, thank you to Paul and Suzie, great session. Today's session was great. I love seeing all these comments. It just makes me smile so much because there's so much going on in the world, and it's just nice to be able to support people and, yeah, just to share our knowledge. Feels like Suzie is in her natural flow. Yeah, you're so right, Suzie. Honestly, I could talk about the subconscious mind and our beliefs and limiting beliefs like all day long. It might not have so much structure, but yeah, it could be. It just could go on and on. It's something that I'm really passionate about. My background is A-level degree in psychology, coach and diploma, NLP practitioner, energy practitioner. Honestly, sometimes I forget what I've trained in because I've done so many things. But yeah, if you'd like to connect with me, then check me out on LinkedIn and I will accept your connection request. I'm glad everyone enjoyed the session.
Good stuff. Well, look, thank you as always for your time, Suzie, and you know, to everyone else, thank you for logging in. Make sure that you you keep update with what's going on, and if you're around tomorrow lunchtime at 1 o'clock, please do join us for our very important conversation that we've you know, that we've been publicising and what have you. But everything, all updates will be on our pages on LinkedIn, on Facebook. So come and join us there.
I'll be there tomorrow as well, Paul. Really looking forward to that one. We've got Lucy, haven't we?
Yes. Yeah, we've got some great people. So it will be interesting to get different people's opinions, viewpoints. I've been doing a lot of research as well and of how the market's looking and what have you. So hopefully I can kind of come at it from a job seeker's angle. We've got people there who are we've got people from PwC who was instrumental in the virtual assistant, rolling out that model. Got someone from a law firm. We've got a kind of trainer as well. So we've got all sorts of different opinions, which so it should be good.
Can't wait.
Good. Thanks, everyone. And we look forward to seeing you soon.
Take care.
Cheers.